I stood frozen in my own hallway, staring at boxes filled with my clothes, my photos, my life, while my family whispered like I wasn't even supposed to exist anymore. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a full-on plan to kick me out of my own home. And the worst part? They thought I was already gone. I wasn't supposed to be home that early. Traffic cleared up, meeting got canceled. One random decision changed everything. I unlocked the front door quietly, and that's when I heard my sister's voice. We just need her out by the end of the week. I stopped breathing. At first, my brain tried to protect me. She can't mean me, right? Then my mom replied, once she's gone, the house will finally feel peaceful again. Peaceful. In the house I paid for. In the house my name was on. My chest started pounding so hard I thought they'd hear it. I leaned closer to the wall, heart racing, listening to my own family rewrite my life without me. My brother laughed. She won't fight it. She never does. That sentence? That one hurt the most, because he was right. I'd always been the fixer, the peacemaker, the one who paid the bills when things got tight, the one who said yes when everyone else said, not my problem. And now, I was the problem. I slowly walked into the living room. Boxes everywhere, my framed college photo tossed face down, my favorite jacket shoved into a trash bag like it meant nothing. My mom looked up first. Her face went white. My sister gasped. My brother froze like a kid caught stealing. Nobody spoke. So I did. What is this? Silence. Then my sister tried to smile. Oh, you're home early. Yeah, early enough to catch the betrayal. My mom cleared her throat. We were just reorganizing. Reorganizing? Funny word for erasing me. I picked up a box and read the label in my sister's handwriting. Her stuff. Not my name. Not bedroom. Just her. Like I was already gone. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because if I didn't laugh, I was going to break. You're kicking me out? I asked. Of the house I own? My brother finally spoke. It's not like that. That's when I knew. It was exactly like that, but what they didn't know, what none of them saw coming, was that I had already overheard the full plan, and I wasn't leaving quietly. Not this time. They were waiting for tears, begging, maybe even an apology. What they got instead was silence. The dangerous kind. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't throw a single accusation. I just stood there staring at the boxes, and that confused them. Because when someone finally stops reacting, it means they're thinking. My mom tried to take control. Let's sit down and talk like adults. Adults. Funny, coming from people who packed my life without asking. I slowly placed the box back on the floor. No, I said calmly. I think you should talk. I'm listening. My sister crossed her arms. You've been difficult lately. Difficult. Because I asked where my money was going? Because I asked why I was paying every single bill. I walked toward the kitchen counter. That's when I saw it, a stack of papers, neatly clipped together. Not random, not trash. Documents. I picked them up. My brother rushed forward. Don't touch that. Too late. My name wasn't on them. But the house address was. Mortgage statements, refinancing forms. And right there on the top page, a signature line, with my mom's name typed under it. My heart dropped into my stomach. Why are you refinancing my house? I asked. No one answered. Not immediately. My mom finally whispered, we were just trying to secure the future. Their future. Without me in it. That's when it all clicked. The sudden pressure to take a break, the constant comments about me needing space, the way they'd been pushing me to stay with a friend for a few weeks. They weren't worried about me. They were clearing me out. My sister stepped closer, lowering her voice. You don't need such a big place anyway. I laughed again. So you decided I don't need the house I paid for? My brother snapped. You're being dramatic. Dramatic. For protecting my own home. Here's what they didn't know. 3 months earlier, when things started feeling off, I quietly did something smart. I talked to a lawyer, just to understand my options. And now, I understood them perfectly. I pulled out my phone. Before we say anything else, I said, I just want to be clear. They all looked at me. Every payment on this house came from my account. The deed, in my name, in trying to refinance without me. I paused. That's fraud. The word hit the room like a bomb. My mom's face crumpled. We're family. I cut her off. Family doesn't secretly plan evictions. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Terrifying. Then my brother said the one thing. That changed everything. Fine, if you won't leave peacefully. We'll make this uncomfortable for you. That's when I smiled. Because now, they'd crossed a line. They couldn't uncross. The moment my brother said, we'll make this uncomfortable for you, I knew one thing for sure. This wasn't just family drama anymore. This was war. I didn't respond right away. I let the silence stretch, because people reveal the most when they think they've already won. My sister rolled her eyes. You're not really gonna call a lawyer, are you? I smiled. No, I said calmly. I already did. The color drained from her face. My mom sat down hard on the couch. You're overreacting, she whispered. Overreacting? They tried to steal my house. I tapped my phone screen, recording. They didn't notice. They were too busy justifying themselves. My brother paced the room. You think you're some kind of victim? You act like you own everything. I looked straight at him. I don't act like it. I do own it. That's when he lost control. Then why are we still struggling while you live comfortably? There it was. The truth. This wasn't about space, or peace, or family harmony. It was about money. My sister jumped in. You always had more than us. I laughed softly. No, I worked more than you. That shut her up. I walked toward the hallway. My bedroom door was open, empty. My dresser drawers pulled out. My closet half cleared. Someone had already started claiming my room. I turned back slowly. Who was moving in here? No one answered, which was answer enough. I went back to the kitchen and picked up the papers again. So let me guess, I said. Once I'm gone, you refinance, take equity, and I'm left with nothing. My mom started crying. We didn't think you'd fight. That hurt. More than anything else, you raised me to stand up for myself, I said. Just not against you. Silence. Then my brother said something even worse. You owe us. After everything we did for you. That's when something inside me snapped. I stepped closer. You didn't do me a favor by being my family. You don't get paid for that. His jaw tightened. I unlocked my phone and showed them the screen. By the way, I said casually, everything said in this room since you threatened me has been recorded. My sister gasped. You can't do that. I shrugged. Watch me. The balance shifted. You could feel it, and they weren't in control anymore. They were exposed. That night, I locked my bedroom door. I slept with my phone under my pillow because I knew one thing. People who feel cornered don't suddenly become kind. And I was right. Because what they did the next morning was so calculated, so cold. It proved they were never going to stop until I was completely gone. I woke up to loud knocking on my bedroom door. Not from my family, but from the police. At first, I thought I was still dreaming. Then I heard my brother's voice from the hallway. She's in there. That's her room. Her room. Like I was a guest. In my own house. The knocking got louder. Police. Open the door. My heart raced, but not from fear. From disbelief. They actually did it. I opened the door slowly. 2 officers stood there. One older, one younger. Both serious. Ma'am, we received a call about a domestic disturbance, the older one said. I looked past them. My family stood together, united, against me. My mom spoke first. She's been acting aggressive, recording us. threatening legal action. I almost laughed. Recording threats is illegal now? The younger officer looked at me. Is this your residence? Yes, I replied. I own this house. My brother jumped in. No, she doesn't. She just helps with payments. Lie. Straight to their faces. I took a breath. Officer, I said calmly. May I get my documents? They nodded. I walked to my safe, pulled out the deed, the mortgage statement, utility bills, all in my name. I handed them over. The officers flipped through the papers, slowly. Carefully. The older one looked up. This property is legally yours. The room went quiet. Dead quiet. My sister panicked. He's manipulating you. The officer raised an eyebrow. Ma'am, unless you're on the deed, this isn't your call. Then I did something they never expected. Officer, I said, I'd like to report attempted fraud. My mom gasped. You wouldn't. I met her eyes. You already did. I played the recording. My brother's threat. The refinance discussion. Everything. The officers exchanged looks. Ma'am, the older officer said to my mom, we're going to need you all to cooperate. That's when reality hit them. This wasn't a scare tactic anymore. This was consequences. My brother exploded. This is ridiculous. She's tearing this family apart. The officer cut him off. Sir, step back. I stood there. Calm. Grounded. In control. Because for the first time, they weren't deciding my future. I was. Before leaving, the officer turned to me. If you feel unsafe, you have the right to remove them from the property. Remove them. From my house. The door closed behind the police. No one spoke. No one even looked at me. But I knew this. They weren't done. Not yet. Because when people lose power, they get desperate. After the police left, my family huddled in the living room. I could feel their panic, but they were far from done. My mom whispered frantically, maybe we can convince her. Just a little? I leaned against the doorway, calm, collected, observing. Convince me? I repeated slowly. You mean gaslight me? My sister's face turned red. You're being paranoid. Paranoid? Just had the proof in my hand. My brother stepped forward, trying to act dominant. Look, we're family. Don't make this bigger than it is. I tilted my head, smiling coldly. Family doesn't secretly plot your eviction. Family doesn't lie to the police. Family doesn't try to steal your property. He swallowed hard. You'll regret this. Regret. Funny word for someone who just realized they underestimated me. I moved closer, holding my phone like a weapon. I've recorded everything. Every plan, every lie, every plot. The room went silent. You can't do that, my mom finally whispered, shaking. I shrugged. Watch me. Then came their desperate attempt. Emotional manipulation. My sister started crying. We didn't mean it. We love you. I blinked slowly. Love? You love me enough to try and erase my life? My mom dropped to her knees. Please, we just want peace. I leaned down to meet her gaze. You want peace? In my house? Without me? They tried every trick in the book. Bribery. We'll pay you to move out quietly. Guilt. We did so much for you. Threats. If you fight this, everyone will hate you. I laughed softly. None of that works when the law is on your side. And when I see through your lies. The days stretched on. I stayed calm, strategic, silent at times, watching them crumble under their own schemes. I went to my bedroom, closed the door, checked all locks, placed the phone under my pillow. Then I sat down thinking, they've gone too far and they think fear will make me fold. But fear is exactly what they're giving me, not me. I knew one thing, the next move would be theirs. The consequence would be mine to control. Because when desperate people push too far, They always leave a door open for payback. At 2:17 a.m., my phone vibrated. Not a call, a notification. Motion detected, living room camera. I sat up in bed instantly, heart steady, mind sharp, because something told me this wasn't an accident. 3 weeks earlier, when things first felt off, I'd installed small security cameras. Living room, hallway, front door. No one knew, no one asked, and now? They were about to regret that. I tapped the screen. There they were, my brother and sister, whispering, moving fast, carrying boxes. My boxes. My sister's voice came through the audio. Take the documents first. Documents, not clothes, not random stuff. Paperwork, my brother replied. Once she's gone, none of this will matter. I recorded everything, every word, every move. They headed toward the front door. That's when I stepped out of my room. Where do you think you're going? They froze. My sister screamed. You scared me. I didn't blink. Good. My brother tried to act normal. We were just helping you pack. I laughed. At 2 a.m.? With my legal papers? I walked closer and pulled one file out of the box. Bank statements, deed copies, insurance documents. Planning ahead? I asked calmly. They said nothing. I held up my phone. Everything you just did is recorded. My sister's face collapsed. You set us up. I smiled. No, you exposed yourselves. That's when my mom appeared in the hallway, half asleep, confused. What's going on? I turned the phone toward her. Ask them. She watched the video. Her hands started shaking. You promised me you'd stop, she whispered to my brother. He snapped back. She was never going to let us stay. There it was. The truth. I placed the box on the floor. This ends tonight. My voice didn't shake. Tomorrow morning, my lawyer files for formal eviction. My mom started crying. You wouldn't do that to us. I looked at her. You already did this to me. My brother slammed the box down. You think you've won? I stepped closer. No. I think I finally stopped losing. I walked back to my room, locked the door, sent the footage to my lawyer. Then I texted one more person. Someone my family didn't expect me to contact. Someone who knew everything. Because the next move wouldn't come from me alone. I was just about to breathe when my phone buzzed. A single message. I'm on my way. Don't let them touch anything. I smiled. Because help had arrived. And it wasn't family. 10 minutes later, there was a knock on the front door. Not timid, not apologetic, authoritative. I opened it. Standing there was my lawyer and the court papers. My family froze. What's this? My mom whispered. We were just reorganizing. I held up the paperwork. This is a formal notice of your illegal attempts to take my property. You've committed fraud and attempted eviction. Everything you've done is documented. My sister stammered. We can fix this. No, I cut her off. You've had weeks. Too late for fixes. My lawyer stepped inside. Ma'am, everything is in order. You're fully protected. Any attempt to remove her or touch her property now will result in immediate legal consequences. My brother's jaw dropped. This can't happen. Oh, it already has, my lawyer replied calmly. My mom tried the emotional approach again. We're family. You can't do this. I laughed softly. Family doesn't try to kick me out at 2 a.m., Mom. Her face crumpled. She realized the house wasn't hers to control anymore. The lawyer handed me a stack of papers. These are copies for the police and local authorities. You're covered for every possible move they might try. I looked at my family. I suggest you read them carefully and think about your next move. Because any move you make against me now is your own liability. They sat there, frozen, powerless. The dynamic had completely shifted. No more whispers, no more plotting, no more threats. Just the cold, undeniable truth. I was in control. Then my lawyer whispered to me, if you want, I can file a restraining order immediately. Make sure they can't even come near your property. I nodded. Do it. Make it clear who owns this house, once and for all. My sister finally muttered something. "We didn't think you'd fight back." I smiled, voice calm but deadly. "That's your mistake. Never underestimate someone who refuses to lose their home or their life." That night, I went to bed knowing the house was mine again. The power dynamic had shifted, and my family would think twice before ever trying something like this again. I woke up to dozens of missed calls, not from my family, from people who shouldn't even know what was happening. That's when I realized they weren't done fighting, they'd just changed tactics. My phone buzzed again, a message from my aunt. "How could you do this to your own mother?" Another from a cousin. "We heard you threw them out like strangers." I didn't even open them because I already knew. They went public. By breakfast, my family had launched a full-blown smear campaign. Facebook posts, group chats, phone calls, painting me as the villain. I finally opened one post. My sister had written, "Some people forget who raised them. Money changes hearts." Hundreds of comments. Supportive, angry, judgmental. And not a single one knew the truth. For a second, I felt it. That familiar guilt. The pressure to explain myself, to defend my name. Then I stopped. Because truth doesn't beg. Instead, I called my lawyer. "They're spreading lies." He didn't hesitate. "Good," he said. "That helps us." Helps us? Within an hour, he sent me something better than an argument. A cease and desist letter. Defamation, harassment, false allegations, everything documented. But I didn't stop there. I made one decision that changed the entire game. I posted two. No long rant, no insults, no emotion. Just facts. For anyone concerned, the house is legally mine. There is an active legal case involving attempted fraud in illegal eviction. Police and legal counsel are involved. Any false statements will be addressed accordingly. That's it. No names, no drama. The comments stopped. Fast. Because suddenly, this wasn't gossip anymore. It was risk. An hour later, my mom called, crying. "Why would you embarrass us like this?" I stayed calm. "You embarrassed yourselves when you lied." Silence. Then she said something chilling. "If you don't fix this, we'll tell people things about you." Threats. Again. I recorded the call. Every word. "Go ahead," I said softly. "But understand something. Lies don't scare me anymore." That night, someone knocked on my door. Hard. Aggressive. I checked the camera. My brother. Furious. And not alone. That's when I knew. This was about to get very ugly. The knocking turned into pounding. Not the kind that asks, the kind that demands. And that's when I realized this wasn't about the house anymore. This was about control. I didn't open the door. I watched the camera feed instead. My brother stood there, jaw clenched. Next to him, my cousin, both angry, both reckless. My phone rang. My brother. I didn't answer. I pressed record. "Open the door," he shouted. "We need to talk. Talk. At 10 p.m. After threats. After lies." He kicked the door. Once. Hard. That's when I called the police. "I feel unsafe," I told the dispatcher. "There are people trying to force entry into my home." My voice was calm, because fear no longer controlled me. Through the door, I spoke loud enough for the camera to catch it. "Leave. The police are on their way." My cousin laughed. "You really think they'll take your side?" I smiled to myself. They already had. Another kick. This time, louder. "You can't hide forever," my brother yelled. And that's when the sirens hit. Red and blue lights flooded the street. My brother froze. My cousin backed up. Too late. Two officers stepped out, same older one as before. He recognized us immediately. "Sir," he said firmly, "step away from the door." My brother tried to explain. "We're family." "That doesn't matter," the officer cut in. "This is a legal residence. You've been warned." I opened the door just enough. "I want them removed," I said, "and I want a report filed." My brother stared at me. Shock. Rage. Disbelief. "You do this to me?" he snapped. I looked him straight in the eye. "You did this to yourself." The officers separated them, took statements, reviewed footage, listened to the recording of threats. The older officer nodded. "Ma'am, you're eligible for an emergency restraining order." Emergency. That word mattered. My mom arrived, late, panicked. "Please," she begged the officers. "This is a misunderstanding." The officer didn't even look at her. "Ma'am, this is documented harassment." That's when my brother finally realized this wasn't going away. They were escorted off the property. Not gently, not kindly, but legally. I locked the door, leaned against it, and for the first time in weeks, I exhaled. But deep down, I knew. This wasn't the end, because the next step would change our family forever. The day of the hearing arrived. I walked into the courtroom, head high, heart steady. My family? They were pale, nervous, panicked. The judge called the case. "We are here regarding the attempted eviction and alleged fraud involving property at address." I felt every eye in the room on me. Some supportive, some curious, some judging. My lawyer stood beside me. "Your Honor, we have documented proof of attempted illegal eviction, threats and harassment, including recordings and motion-activated footage." He laid out everything: recorded conversations, security camera footage, threatening texts and calls, the attempted midnight packing. My family tried to interrupt. "Objection!" my brother shouted. The judge raised a hand. "Order. All evidence is admissible. Continue." The room went silent. My sister whispered under her breath, "How did she get all this?" I smiled faintly. "Months of planning," I whispered back. The lawyer then revealed the most shocking part. Furthermore, attempts to refinance the property without the homeowner's consent constitute fraud. All financial institutions involved have been notified, and any further interference will lead to criminal charges. My mom gasped. We didn't mean..." "Intent doesn't matter," the judge interrupted. "Action does." Then came the final blow. According to submitted bank statements and mortgage documents, the homeowner is the sole legal owner. Attempts to coerce her out of her property are illegal. My family slumped in their seats. Shock, humiliation, rage. I leaned back in my chair. I felt powerful. I felt vindicated. I felt like I finally reclaimed what was mine. But the courtroom drama wasn't over. My lawyer dropped the final bomb. Additionally, we've discovered several financial discrepancies suggesting attempts to siphon funds from the homeowner's accounts. Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. "What? What do you mean?" my brother stammered. The judge looked over his glasses. "This is serious. Evidence of fraud will be forwarded to the appropriate authorities." I sat silently, letting it all sink in. My family had tried to take everything from me. The house, the finances, even my reputation. And now, the tables had completely turned. As the judge adjourned the hearing, the homeowner retains full possession and legal rights of the property. Any attempt to interfere further will result in criminal charges. I smiled, because for the first time, my family realized they had underestimated me, and underestimating me was the biggest mistake of their lives. I thought the courtroom victory would be the end. I was wrong, because when people lose in court, they don't accept it quietly. They unravel. By the time I got home, my phone was exploding. Not with hate this time, with questions. "Is it true your brother tried to steal your house? Did your mom really sign refinancing papers? Why are people saying there's an investigation?" The story had leaked. And this time, they couldn't control it. A local legal blog picked it up. "Family dispute turns into fraud case." No names, but enough details for everyone to know. I didn't comment. I didn't defend. I didn't explain, because the truth was finally doing the work for me. My sister tried to get ahead of it. She posted again, this time more desperate. Things were misunderstood. Legal matters are complicated. People weren't buying it anymore. The comments turned. If it wasn't true, why are lawyers involved? Why would police come twice? Why is the house in her name? Silence followed. Then something unexpected happened. Someone I hadn't heard from in years messaged me. My aunt, but not the one who blamed me. Another one. I'm proud of you, she wrote. They did something similar to your cousin years ago. She just didn't fight back. My stomach dropped. This wasn't new behavior. It was a pattern. That's when the full picture came together. They weren't shocked I fought. They were shocked I won. My lawyer called later that evening. We've uncovered more, he said. Your brother attempted to open a line of credit using your address. I closed my eyes. How bad? Bad enough that investigators are now involved. The next morning, my mom showed up, alone, no shouting, no anger, just defeat. She stood at the door quietly. Can we talk? She asked. I didn't answer right away, because this conversation, it would hurt more than court ever did. I opened the door halfway. Say what you came to say. She looked at me, and for the first time, she didn't look like she was in control. We never thought you'd stand up to us, she whispered. We thought you'd just leave. I felt a lump in my throat. That's the problem, I said. You didn't think of me at all. She nodded slowly. I'm sorry for pushing you too far. I believed her. But apologies don't erase damage. I need space, I told her. And boundaries. She understood. Finally, as she walked away, I realized something powerful. Standing up for yourself doesn't make you heartless. It shows people where your heart ends and your life begins. I didn't expect him to show up. Not after everything, but at 7 p.m., there was a knock on the front door. It was my brother, alone, face pale, hands shaking. He stepped inside hesitantly. We need to talk, he said. I didn't move, just watched. Every step he took screamed guilt. He stopped in the living room. Boxes still untouched. Papers still stacked neatly. I never wanted it to go this far, he whispered. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Because everything you did suggests otherwise. He swallowed hard. I was desperate. I thought, if I could take the house and money, we'd finally have security. I didn't think you'd fight. The confession hit me. You didn't think I'd fight? I repeated. You tried to erase my life in my own home. He hung his head. I know. I see it now. I'm sorry. I was angry and blind. I let greed control me, and I lost sight of family. I felt a mix of anger and relief. Relief, because finally the truth came out. No more lies. No more secrets. I took a deep breath. You've hurt everyone, including yourself, but admitting it is the first step. He nodded slowly. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. I'll cooperate with the investigation. I'll make amends. Just don't hate me. I studied his face. For the first time, I saw remorse. Genuine. Not forced. I don't hate you, I said softly. But trust will take time, and boundaries will be firm. He nodded again, finally understanding that the power dynamic had changed forever. Then he dropped the bombshell. Mom. She wasn't completely in on it. She let me do this without knowing everything. Shock washed over me. You mean she didn't know you were trying to steal my house and refinance? Exactly, he whispered. She was scared, confused. I took advantage of that. I leaned back. Everything made sense now. The whispers, the half-truths, the panic. So it was all your plan, I said slowly. You almost destroyed this family for greed. He looked down. Yes. And I'm ready to face the consequences. I exhaled deeply. Good. Because from now on, Everything will be transparent. Every action, every word, every plan. No more lies. No more secrecy. He nodded, finally humbled. That night, I locked the door, sat on my bed, and for the first time in weeks, I felt complete control over my life. The fight wasn't over, but I had claimed my victory. My home was mine. My family's deceit was exposed, and the truth was finally out. Weeks of lies, weeks of fear, weeks of betrayal. It all ended today. The first thing I did was secure the house completely. Locks changed, cameras updated, legal notices posted. This was my sanctuary again. Next, I met with my lawyer one last time. Everything's finalized, he said. Your family cannot touch the property, the finances, or harass you in any way. The restraining order is active, and any further attempt will lead to criminal charges. I smiled. Finally, freedom felt real. I called my mom. Mom, I said softly, we need boundaries. I'm willing to forgive, but I won't forget, and I won't let this happen again. She choked up. I understand, she whispered. I was blind. I see it now. My brother called next. I want to make amends, he said. I'll do whatever it takes. I paused. You'll start by respecting me and staying out of my way. Everything else comes later. For the first time, I felt true empowerment. No more manipulation. No more threats. No more gaslighting. This was my life, my rules, my home. That night, I sat in my living room, looking at the boxes that had once been my trophies of betrayal. I smiled. I didn't need revenge anymore, because justice had been served. Because I had reclaimed everything that was mine. My home, my peace of mind, my dignity. And the best part? I finally realized, standing up for yourself isn't cruel. It's necessary, and when you do it right, you don't just survive, you thrive. I locked my doors, turned off the cameras for the night, and for the first time in months, I slept without fear.